This is going to be the first episode of a new series I'm creating called E.S.E.C, in which I'm going to be exposing social engineering campaigns. Before we get into that, I wanted to remind everyone that crowdsourcethetruth.com and crowdsourcethetruth.org are both live right now, and you can go to the web page for one easy point where you can access the Facebook pages, the Twitter account, Instagram, YouTube, and choose between monthly sponsorship on Patreon or Subscribestar. You're going to get access to a lot of exclusive content on either platform, and it's a great way for people to support the show. You can also become a one-time sponsor through PayPal by selecting either bronze, silver, or gold. And of course, you can also go to paypal.me and enter any amount at all. People who want to sponsor by mail can also get the mailing address from crowdsourcethetruth.com. Please remember that my production company, 21st Century 3D, owns Crowdsource the Truth, and that is the business entity that checks and other payments to be mailed should be made out to. So the real reason I'm making this video is because there's been a huge dust-up coming as a result of Kevin Shipp investigating some of the questions that have arisen around the reporting on Dennis Montgomery's claims related to the Hammer system. Now, a lot of people saw the video I did on, I think it was Saturday, with Mary Fanning and Alan Jones. They called in to answer some questions that people had, well, specifically myself. I had 3 or 4 significant questions about some of the evidence that had come up in their reporting and some of the other reporting on the Hammer. Now, there was a little bit of confusion where Mary seems to think that I was claiming that Kevin had broken this story. I didn't say that. I said that Kevin has broken new ground. But let's take a look at some of these comments. Social engineering is a broad field, but YouTube is just filled with social engineering. And I want to point out for people some of the things that I do to sort of evaluate if a particular YouTube account is legitimate or a social engineering account. Now, first thing we want to look at is how many people have viewed this video. 6,400 as of the time I'm making this. You know, that's a lot by some measures, but not a huge number. We've got 338 thumbs up, 42 thumbs down. This seems like a pretty reasonable spread of likes and dislikes given the number of people watching it and the overall general popularity of the channel and the guests that I have. So let's keep that in mind. I'm sure someone more mathematically minded than me could come up with some kind of formula for this, but you know, typically, and again, people can look at other videos on Crowdsource the Truth and look at how people respond to comments, how frequently there are replies, how many people actually like a particular comment. So we've got this first comment here. Bottom line, it will be the deep state investigating and indicting the deep state. How can Americans have any confidence? Okay, so we see there's no picture here. So that is one factor that I use to determine if an account is controlled by a social engineer. Now, if we right-click on this person's name and open in a new tab, it's going to take us to their YouTube account page. Now, again, this is a set of guidelines that people can use to arrive at their own conclusions. This is not definitive. I don't know who May Stravachi is, but the first thing we see is that there's only 6 subscribers. Now, a lot of people out there who are watching YouTube but not creating content might think to themselves, well, I'm a real person and I don't have 6 subscribers. Maybe you have 1 subscriber or 0 subscribers. But let's look at a couple of other things. There don't seem to be any uploaded videos here, just liked videos, which there are a few, and it's the types of subjects that most viewers of Crowdsource the Truth would be interested in. John Durham, Patriot Soapbox, different people who are, stuff about President Trump, the Mueller investigation. There's a few liked videos here that we can scroll through, and it also displays who they're subscribed to. Now, normally, in addition to the home page, there's a couple other tabs here, including one that says About, which would tell us when this account was created and some other things about it. That About tab missing is a factor, but hard to say if this is a real account or not a real account. I would lean towards the possibility that this may not be a real account, keeping in mind that it could be a person who's just trying to keep their information off the internet. There are a lot of likes for this comment, so perhaps people do like the comment, or this is a social engineering account whose ideas are being boosted by other social engineers. We notice there's not a single like on this response here that seems to agree with it. So you would think that some of these 16 people would be alerted that there's another comment, might come back and interact with this. But let's keep moving. Here's Misbehaving Irishman. And this is a negative comment about me. I always find it interesting when someone who is watching the channel feels the need to make a negative comment. Not to say that negative comments aren't welcome. Constructive criticism can be very helpful. I personally tend to not leave negative comments on videos that I don't like. I usually just leave and go do something else. This 18 likes for a comment, it's high, but I mean, again, we don't know. So let's look at Misbehaving Irishman's channel here. So again, no About tab, no actual uploaded videos, just liked videos and created playlists. Now, keep in mind, if you wanted to make a YouTube channel or a YouTube account for a fake name, creating playlists and liking videos takes a lot less time than creating videos and uploading them. So this, at first glance, looks like a pretty populated YouTube account, but there's only 2 subscribers. We don't know when this account was created. No uploaded videos. Could be a real account. Hard to say. Now, Mr. Solitude is a viewer who I've seen in the live chat many times, giving good comments frequently, lots of thoughtful comments, not always positive. Mr. Solitude does provide constructive criticism when needed, and we see 17 likes, bit of interaction, and we see there are follow-up likes. With 17 likes, I would expect that people are following Mr. Solitude's comments, and there might be some engagement here with additional likes. Raymond Key tells me to calm down. I made it hard to get through the information. Now, this is contradictory to most of the response I've gotten from the interview in terms of personal emails and other people who I interact with who watch the show. So this is, the overall consensus is that people seem to have liked this video. So any comment that's telling me to calm down or that I did something that they didn't like is possibly a dissenting opinion, or possibly a social engineer trying to falsely manufacture consensus. Now, I mean, again, we're seeing all of these empty comments. I've blocked this user, not empty comments, empty tabs. I blocked this user because I do not believe that this is a real user. Now, if I'm wrong, I invite Raymond Key to send me an email to truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org, and then I will amend my statement. But for right now, I do not believe that this is a legitimate comment. I think this is a social engineering comment. Actually, let's take a look for a moment at Mr. Solitude's YouTube profile, and we can see videos, playlists, channels, discussion, about. These all exist here. Mr. Solitude joined in May of 2017, right around the time that Crowdsource the Truth started, a little bit before perhaps. And Mr. Solitude has been making comments since that time. Seems like a legitimate account run by a person who's actually watching. And some of the people who are responding to Mr. Solitude, let's take a look at what's going on there. Well, I mean, again, perhaps this is a real account, perhaps not. There are people who don't want to reveal that information about themselves, and this is a tricky thing to sort of figure out. You don't always know. Again, these are guidelines, not hard and fast rules. I think if we saw an actual name here, like Tom Smith with a picture of someone, and certainly if there were even one uploaded video that showed a picture of that person, that would be strong evidence that the channel is operated by that person. Once we start getting into profile names and pictures that aren't the person, we're left to try to decide if these are real accounts or sock puppet accounts, as it were. Hard to say. Again, a lot of users just... Now, here we see Amy, and here we see uploads of a person who looks just like Amy, so I do believe that this is a real account. Perhaps, again, there are ways this could be done. Someone could download this video from another channel, take a screen cap, put the face there, but this seems like Amy Coyle is probably a real user. So anytime you see a comment that you agree with or disagree with or whatever, you can go through some of these steps and maybe not definitively determine if the comment is coming from a real user, but you can use some of these techniques and possibly even develop some techniques of your own to figure out if these are real users or not. Now, here we see 36 likes. Again, that's kind of an outlier. Most of these comments aren't getting past 20 likes. So for one to have 36 likes, it's got to be a great comment or it's being boosted. So this is Jennifer Whitehouse, not a name that I recognize from the live chats or the comments in the past. Obviously, the White House is the place where Donald Trump lives. So somebody sitting around all day thinking about better ways to do political opposition research might have the White House on their mind. They have created a lot of playlists. I find it interesting that the first playlist they created has 8 videos in it, but all these other playlists have just 1 or 2. Here's one with 9. Again, this could be a random pattern of an actual person creating playlists. Maybe they lost interest in some of these topics, or perhaps Jennifer Whitehouse is a fake account from a social engineer. Let's see what she's saying here. Jennifer Whitehouse says that I wasn't impartial. You have a Patreon show with Kevin Shipp. You grilled Mary about no presenting signature on the documents. Hell, do you trust the FBI? Please, the corruption is ongoing. I wouldn't put it past FBI agents to forge signatures and or present/omit information. You came across as biased on Shipp's behalf. Wasn't this the same guy who worked with the FBI and did uncover for Uranium One? So there's typos here. I'm not sure who the same guy. Are they talking about Montgomery? Are they talking about Kevin Shipp? I don't know. But I mean, the troubling thing about this comment is that it comes back to one of the challenges I posed to Mary and Alan, which is how do we explain that the FBI agents independently forged Montgomery's signature but didn't put their own signature there? We never got an answer for that. And the answer may well be that Mary and Alan don't know how that occurred. But to ask me to speculate and draw conclusions from that speculation, as far as, you know, do I think Dennis Montgomery would have gotten immunity if he were lying? Well, yes, I do. If the person giving out the immunity was interested in covering up the truth, I do think that Dennis Montgomery would have gotten immunity. And the point that I was trying to raise was not that Montgomery had a stroke and couldn't sign his own name. That was very clear, and it became frustrating to me that we kept going back to that answer. My question, or the point rather, that I was trying to raise was that it seems very strange that these FBI agents would not sign an evidence receipt. And yes, I do not trust the FBI. So what I'm saying is, how do we know that the FBI wasn't helping Montgomery put across a fraud? If we don't trust the FBI and we don't see an FBI signature on the evidence record, well, that doesn't make the evidence record very trustworthy. So 36 people seem to like this comment, meaning they dislike my performance, but that means every single person who disliked the video disliked this comment. It seems like a lot. It seems like a heavy concentration. And then we've got a non-FF MIDI Q. Well, I mean, again, no content. This could have been created today specifically to troll my channel. We don't know. We've got David Harrell. I think he did get way too snappy with her. At certain times, she seemed not to hear him. I don't think she was talking over him deliberately. That's possible. That may be possible, except it seemed to happen quite a lot. Now, David has 23 subscribers. He's got videos here that he seems to have posted. Perhaps he was more active on YouTube years ago. Strong possibility that this may be a real user. Subscribed to a lot of channels. He's written all this stuff. And he's got a PayPal here. I don't think a fake account would set up a PayPal, and he's been online since 2014. I think David Harrell is a legitimate user, and he raises a good point. Perhaps Mary wasn't hearing me. If that's the case, I apologize. Mary and I did have a pleasant conversation offline after the interview, and she apologized for talking over me. I apologized if I was too stern in standing my ground, but this is the process that I go through. David does not agree with the way that I acted, but the way that he presents his comment is sensible and even-handed, and his account seems to be a legitimate account. Let's see what Margaritaville says. 15 subscribers. I mean, again, hard to say. Could be real, could be fake. They're interacting, someone's interacting with Margaritaville's comments. Nothing, well, I don't know if Carrie's getting angry at some of the other commenters. Probably best to avoid that. I'm certainly guilty of that myself. Sometimes, this is just the process that I go through. It's not always fully clear. Let's see, Geraldine, what we've gotten. Of course, these are public comments that anybody can go to. Geraldine Perry seems like a real enough name. Maybe Geraldine is just very interested in remaining private. And again, I'm not going through and just looking at comments that disagree with me. Geraldine is agreeing with me, and I'm not saying that someone's a social engineer simply because they disagree with me. Now, here we see Mary coming into the comments, and she's saying that Jason stated, "You, Kevin Shipp, have engaged in a really groundbreaking investigation of the details and articles that have come out, about Dennis Montgomery's Hammer Project." Now, Mary Fanning thinks this is me saying that Kevin Shipp broke the story. I did not say that. I said that recently Kevin Shipp has been investigating details and articles. Now, we said this during the interview. I clarified it during the interview. And here is Mary, after the interview, coming back to the same point and misinterpreting it again. So, Mary, I need to ask, are you really missing the point of what I'm saying? Or are you trying to convince people of a point that you want them to have in their heads? I never said Kevin Shipp broke this story. I clarified that point during the interview. I find it objectionable that you would put this comment here, and I've responded that you should read what I said again because you still do not get it, and I consider this putting words in my mouth. You even said that I had said you said Kevin Shipp did not break the story. And I immediately responded during the interview that I've never said Kevin Shipp has broken the story. So let's carry on, shall we? Karen Allen, now that's a very common name, but it's also the name of a famous actress. The comment seems innocuous. 8 subscribers, playlists, subscriptions. I mean, again, people are getting an idea for how I go through this. We can't always make a definitive determination. So here's someone I was had by George Webb, yes, CIA, talking about Kevin. I try to look at all of these things when I'm evaluating the input from a comment, because sometimes I get people who come in here and say things like, "Oh, I signed up for Patreon and I can't get on Patreon," and then I look up that person's name on Patreon, and so far in each of those cases they have not been real people. Now here's Vicki Davis, 224 subscribers, seems like a lot. Her About tab is there. She's been here since 2014. This description, another website we can go to. This is very likely a real user. So what's happened in the past, Wait a minute, here's Jennifer Whitehouse again. I've already given this comment a thumb down because I believe I've determined that Jennifer Whitehouse, in my opinion, is not a real account. Jennifer, if I'm incorrect, please send an email to truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org and let's address some of your concerns. It's remarkable that Jennifer keeps getting so many likes for her comments. Someone who doesn't seem to have a really huge presence on YouTube. I've never seen her on Crowdsource the Truth chats or comments before. I wonder if this comment is not being boosted by other social engineering accounts. Here we've got Darren K. approving of me asserting myself when Mary tried to speak over me. We can't determine from what we see here if this is a legitimate account or a social engineer account. Interesting again, though, 25 likes for this, far fewer interaction with the other comments that are responding to that. Mary, very active in this comment section here. Michael McNeil couldn't understand much of what was said. 7 people agree with that comment. Maybe Michael didn't like the audio quality of the telephone call. I had asked Alan and Mary if they could participate by Skype. They chose telephone. Here's Barbara Richardson, normal sounding name by all accounts. She's supportive of my defense of my not being spoken over. And again, this is a demonstration of we don't know. It's, you know, someone disliking Jason or liking Jason doesn't automatically determine if it is a real or fake account. T-Jams, Felix. Here's Felix E. Mary and Alan won this round. Fair-handedness and logic. Well, if we think filibustering and speaking over me is fair-handed and logical, then I guess Felix might have a point. Now, this is interesting. Jonathan Smith, or John Smith, obviously a very generic name, could be real, could be not real. John has not uploaded any videos, and he's just joined in 2018. Hard to say. And again, this would seem to be a comment in support of Jason. So, you know, there's all these factors. It's very difficult sometimes to determine if a comment is being made by a social engineering account. But, you know, I think we can see most comments aren't getting 20 and 30 likes, and those comments that did get those many likes don't strike me as being particularly insightful or inspiring. So I find the number of likes in and of itself to be an indicator of possible manipulation. We've heard a lot from people that sites exist where you can purchase fake YouTube accounts that can be done relatively inexpensively, and you can have lots of YouTube users that you can do all kinds of things with. Here's Cindy Banks presuming that I said Mary was lying. I never said Mary was lying. I just disagreed with some of her conclusions. A lot of people seem to like Cindy Banks' comment. Kevin Barry thinks I did a terrible job on this interview. I think Kevin Barry is a fake account. 6 subscribers. I could be wrong. Kevin Barry, send me an email, truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org, if I have incorrectly identified your account as that of a social engineer. But 11 people seem to think I did a terrible job on this interview. I disagree. Here's someone who's agreeing with me, myself and one other person like that comment. Let's see, are there any other outliers here as far as lots of likes? It's an interesting exercise to go through. I have asked Mary and Alan to send me the link to WikiLeaks where the HAMR is equated to the hammer. Now here's the knob. I clicked on this one because it's got 10 replies, so that would seem like a comment that really has attracted people's attention. It says, keep up the good work, Jason. Zealots like these two take offense to anyone questioning their narrative. of facts. Now, the Knob 1 is obviously not a real name for a person, but let's look at the Knob's account. I think people see this, this is not a surefire method. Again, if social engineers are out there trying to confuse us, perhaps they could, and I'm not suggesting that the Knob 1 is doing this. One thing they could do is put in some positive comments. The Knob 1 may be real. Please email me on truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org to let me know where I'm at with this evaluation, the Knob 1. But Linda thinks this is Mary's story. This is her story. It was hijacked, her story from day one. I think it's Dennis Montgomery's story. I'm not so interested in taking ownership of it, and I don't think that Kevin Shipp is either. I'm just asking some questions about the conclusions that have come up here. So this is interesting. This seems to be the same commenter again. I don't remember what we determined about this person, but the issue between Jason and Mary was one of connectivity or communications, not one of facts. A rough comparison would be Weather News Channel Dex on their rival 746. I've never heard of this. In reporting a news item presents the correct flavor. This is obviously an extremely sensitive subject that a roundtable conference could be helpful in refining. Dave Janda's presentation on this issue was clear and unambiguous. He too should have a seat at the table. I do not agree that Dave Janda has been clear and unambiguous or objective. I think Dave Janda has jumped to conclusions that I disagree with as well. That doesn't mean that I dislike Dave Janda or wouldn't want to include him in a roundtable, but I don't think it was a problem of communication, because we see today, after Mary has had a chance to hear what I've said, digest what I've said, she still thinks I've said things that I didn't say. I never said Kevin Shipp broke this story. And Mary is right in here interacting with these accounts. Mary, this is not your story. This is a story that anyone can report on. The notion that somehow Kevin Shipp has no right to get involved with questioning or reporting on this story is, I reject that notion completely. Very unsettling to see so much BS. This is not BS. Shipp did not discover that. Shipp told that the hammer did not exist. Kevin has moved off of that position that the hammer did not exist. He's saying it exists, so we need to stop pressing that line. That is not honest to say that Kevin Shipp is still standing by the position that the hammer does not exist. I agree that he may have said that early on. I'm not attempting to sell Shipp. See, this is what I object to, Mary. You're misrepresenting facts. I'm asking you questions about details that Kevin Shipp has brought to my attention, and so far the answers have not been satisfactory. This filibustering attack during the interview and in the comments is unimpressive. And here's Roy asking Mary if she thinks that I do not have the right to try and draw a halt to an interlocutor. I have to admit, I don't know what that word means, who is barreling on and seems to be oblivious to his pleas to hold up for a moment. Yes, thank you, Roy. That's exactly what I was trying to do. Because you see, Mary, in my estimation, the tactics of steamrolling, the tactics of, so here we've got a guy who's uploaded videos, and again, this seems like it would be a real account. We would need to hear from Roy Hempel on truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org to verify that. And certainly I'm not challenging these people. No one is compelled to email me. But, I'm just trying to point out to everyone how we can determine what is a social engineering account and what is not. Now, is this Mary posting the same comment again? Mary, this is filibustering. This is so unprofessional and annoying and a demonstration of poor netiquette. To come into this comment section and repost the same comment, you are carpet bombing the viewers with information that you have not brought anything new here. You are repeating the same thing. I did not say that Kevin Shipp has has broken this story. I said that he's investigating details and articles. He's reading your article and he's finding details that don't make sense to him, and he's carrying out an additional investigation that I feel is breaking ground in this matter. For you to keep repeating this, in my opinion, makes your argument weaker. I would like for you to acknowledge that I have never said that Kevin Shipp has broken this story, and frankly, I object to you considering this your story and trying to prevent anyone else from reporting anything about it. So she says, Jason Goodman, Binny and Wiebe both told they too had evidence reports that did not have signature or record numbers on them, which I've already said, so what? That doesn't make them legitimate. In my view, I think I've spoken now to several law enforcement officers who say that it's very important that an evidence record be signed. So all you're proving is that the FBI is continually breaking protocol, and I don't doubt that they would do that to serve their own needs there. So procedure is not always followed exactly. Highly detailed receipts mean nothing. No, what they mean is we've got a receipt where procedure has not been followed. So if they didn't sign their name, how do we know that anything on that receipt is accurate? This is the question. You can't just discount the parts of it that don't fit your explanation and accept the parts that do. Shipp told Binny and Wiebe were naive. You corrected that as well. Perhaps you should listen to Shipp if he hasn't also removed that video, and then get back to me with an apology. What is it that you think I should apologize to you for, Mary? I mean, do you want to apologize to me for coming on my show, ignoring what I said, putting words in my mouth, talking over me, filibustering, steamrolling? Mary, what is going on? Why didn't my interview with Kevin come with the same skepticism? Not because of money. My interview with Kevin, here's what people need to understand. With these co-host shows, in most cases, the co-host is coming up with the topic, and I'm just hosting. I don't necessarily know anything about what they're going to say. They present their information, and I ask questions, as I expect the audience might have questions. And the things that Kevin presented me seemed like questions that needed answers. Why is there no signature on the evidence receipt? Why are some of these other things seemingly unanswered? Why does Montgomery never refer to the hammer as H-A-M-R? Where is this document on WikiLeaks that says H-A-M-R is interchangeably known as the hammer? I'm just asking the same questions that Kevin asked. I'm not backing Kevin. I don't like everyone trying to turn this into a popularity contest where they decide if they like Kevin or they like Mary. As far as this information is concerned, I don't care about either of those individuals at all. I just care about the information and the questions surrounding it. So this says I have an enemy in my camp. Proceed with caution. Your fame has gathered worldwide recognition. I don't know about that. And again, people make these definitive statements. I don't know if this person knows this for a fact, or if they're just putting a comment in there based on their opinion. So here's KRAN0 is saying something about Jason Mossad Handler. If you've watched from afar, you know Jason is one big Hollywood e-begging LARP. Creates drama for clicks, which equal dollars. Yep, I was fooled. Okay, so this is the person who said they gave $500 in 2017. Now, I have no recollection of someone sending $500 sponsorship in 2017. KRAN0, please send me an email on truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org and help me locate that $500 sponsorship payment. We can have a conversation about refunding it if you are dissatisfied with how that sponsorship money was used. It paid for the trip to Florida. As a matter of fact, that's not even the criteria. There is no satisfaction guarantee. People aren't sponsoring the show to pay for news the way they want it. The point is, I do not believe this person sent $500. I believe this is a social engineering account that uses a box of Wheaties to say something like this, because a negative comment surrounding sponsorship of the show is in part, I believe, intended, Tweeties. A negative comment with regard to sponsorship is intended to defund the show. And this show cannot continue without viewer sponsorship. So this is an insidious method that social engineers are using, calling me Mossad. I have never interacted with Mossad to my knowledge. I have never been paid by Mossad. Robert David Steele has aggressively spread the lie that I'm being paid by Mossad. Robert David Steele has falsely stated that discovery in his lawsuit has revealed to him that I'm paid by Mossad. That is a provable, absolute lie. Discovery has not yet begun. I have never received a payment from Mossad as far as I am aware. KRAN0, contact me on truth@crowdsourcethetruth.com and help me understand when in 2017 and by what mechanism $500 was sent to Crowdsource the Truth. Because we did investigate the container ships in Florida. Just disliking what I'm saying right now it has nothing to do with 2017. So people get the idea, I think. We can look through here at some of these comments and see, why would someone who thinks I'm an ass bother watching this show? I don't think that's a real person, Joan Sparks. Send me an email on truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org if you'd like to discuss that further. But, these little comments. Here's Mary spamming the comment section again. This is poor form. This is what Queen Tut was doing when she was trying to spread lies about Vegas, lies about why she was leaving the show, lies about who I was dating. Mary, this is very unprofessional, very unprofessional. Now, Pat, I've seen around in the comments before. So why is she reposting exactly what Mary has posted? I don't know if this is a real account or not, but this is like a spam attack on the comments, Mary. That's not effective. So here's Joy D's, read the comments before listening, and now after hearing how unprofessional Jason is coming off, if you rebut Mary's account, let her know without acting like a douchebag. You have a lot of very important guests. Treat them respectfully before they ditch you. Yeah, so I've already checked Joy's page here, and I'm not convinced that this is a real account. Again, someone could make a playlist much more quickly than they could make a bunch of videos. Granted, these are pretty full. Seems like somebody likes one video from Crowdsource the Truth. So I don't know, is this really a Crowdsource the Truth viewer, or is this someone who's just putting together playlists? Stevie Nicks, Golden Earring, Johnny Cash, Tom Petty. This seems like pretty generic playlists from Joy, who feels that, who would write a comment like that? Why not just click off the thing? So that's just a quick overview of some of the comments on this video. It really does cause me to wonder if there is some kind of social engineering attack. Causes me to recall one other thing about this. So Kevin and I have taken to doing these preview videos for the intelligence assessment with Kevin Shipp, which airs Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Now, this preview video, when it first came out, had, when I first checked this, it had 29 thumbs down to 50 thumbs up. And again, it's not, I'm not complaining about the popularity of the video, but these factors, how people interact with the like and dislike, particularly in the first hours that the video is published, they determine how the YouTube algorithm shares the video. And when 50% of the people watching it dislike it, according to the algorithm, the video gets suppressed and fewer people get to see it. You may notice that this video has only 2,560 views after 2 days, and actually it's more than 2 days, but this is a social engineering attack, in my opinion. I do not believe that those are legitimate thumbs down. Now, unfortunately, there's no way for me to check that, but we could go through this exercise on any video. let's take a look at the top viewed video on Crowdsource the Truth to get an idea for how comments and likes are behaving on something that's been viewed a bit more. Now, again, I don't know if this top viewed video is the top viewed because of legitimate views. This second top viewed video, the interview guest has boasted about the views and also seems to be someone who would have knowledge and the ability to use artificial intelligence or bot armies to increase that number of views. Hard to say. So let's go to a video that doesn't include two people who I would rather not. This is perfect. So the most viewed Kevin Shipp video from a year ago has 142,000 views. This was the first interview that I did with Kevin Shipp, and actually the first time I ever met Kevin. You can notice that 3.3 thousand likes to 88 dislikes. So it would seem that a huge number of people who watch Crowdsource the Truth like Kevin Shipp and want to comment about that. Now, even with 142,000 views, many, many more views, we can see that a comment from me only gets 14 thumbs up. 99. So these are higher, of course. Again, mathematically oriented people are going to want to, make some kind of. But I mean, we've got things in there that had 30 likes with, 6,000 views, and here we've got, 70 times the number of people watching, and still, although there are some that have over 100. 30, 40, 40, 18, 68, 20, 30 thumbs up on a comment on a video with 6,000 views. When we look at the number of thumbs up on comments on this 100,000 view video, I mean, again, this isn't definitive research into what's going on, but I think it is very telling when we see how people are reacting to other people's comments versus how many thumbs up those negative comments on the Mary Fanning Alan Jones video received. That it just doesn't seem legitimate to me. It seems like someone, and I'm not accusing Mary of doing this, I think Mary might be being subjected to social engineering as well. As a matter of fact, the most effective use of social engineering is when the subject doesn't know that it's happening to them at all. Look at how many of these comments have just one thumbs up. And Fred Edward, he's a guy who's been around on the shows, at least for a year. Fred has sent me many private emails. I do believe Fred is a real person. There's lots of comments here that have no thumbs up, and many that have, single digits on the thumbs up. So I find it odd that some of those negative comments on the other video had all that interaction. Well, anyway, what we think about Kevin Shipp or what we think about Mary Fanning has no impact on the truth or falsehood of information that they've brought forward. Obviously, we do need to consider the source, but in this case, I have no reason to distrust either of these people, and I'm looking specifically at the information. So I would encourage everyone to watch that interview if you haven't already seen it. It is the featured video on the Jason Goodman YouTube channel right now. I also want to encourage people who are watching to visit Crowdsource the Truth 2 and subscribe to that channel. This is the backup channel, and if anything happens to the main Crowdsource the Truth channel, this is going to be the first place you can go to check out the daily videos. And I'm reminded of another thing. It's been a little while that I've experimented with monetization on Crowdsource the Truth 2. People who watch live streams on Crowdsource the Truth 2 can utilize Super Chat, and you may experience some commercials on Crowdsource the Truth 2, which is also interesting because so many of, almost all of the videos that I upload, I get the message that they're not suitable for advertisers. But then when I watch from a browser that I'm not logged in on, I get ads. So YouTube is still making money from ads when my videos play. They're just not giving any of it to Crowdsource the Truth. And it reminds me of one other thing. I wanted to share with everyone once again, I've spoken about this before. People have heard me say that the channel has experienced a strike recently. Okay, we can see that monetization is disabled, and that is because of the strike. I've been thinking about enabling monetization on the main Jason Goodman channel to allow people to use Super Chat if that's what they would like to do. But when we look, we can see that this video, Ole Damagard and Cody Snodgrass, Parkland, Dallas, and Austin, this video received a strike on April 12th, 2019. But amazingly, the video had been removed in 2018 for, according to YouTube, violating the policy of harassment and bullying. Now, nothing more had been done with this video in 2019, but YouTube issued this strike, disabling monetization for the channel, and as you can see, it was appealed on April 12th. It expires later this week, but YouTube has not even responded to my appeal. So how is this a fair appeal process if YouTube can just keep the channel deactivated? How much revenue have I lost in the 3 months that Super Chat has not been active here, I ask YouTube. So it's a very interesting set of circumstances, and unfortunately, we'll just have to wait until later this week. Certainly, if another strike occurs on the channel, I would consider that more social engineering. We don't know to what degree YouTube itself is participating in this. It has been said by some that these social engineers do in fact have a contact within YouTube. I have no firsthand evidence to support that statement, but it is certainly possible. I hope that people will subscribe if they've been unsubscribed. This subscriber count has been fluctuating for the past several months in a way that is very different than the growth of the channel for the first 2 years. But if you log on to the Jason Goodman YouTube channel one day and it's not there, you can be sure to find us on patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I just wanted to put this video out so that people can see some of the points that I use to determine if a YouTube account is legitimate or a social engineering tool, and I hope that people will use these techniques and decide for themselves. Thanks for watching, everybody.